Hi, this is Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this really cute tulip crochet stitch. I think this is super sweet. I think it would work great for a blanket or a scarf or maybe even a shawl. I have it in three different colorways. First I did it in a solid color, and then I changed colors just for the flowers, and then I did the flowers and the stems. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn, and let's start working on the tulip stitch. So before we jump into today's tutorial, if you haven't done so already, could you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? It's that little button down in the corner there with my picture on it. If you click that button, you'll be automatically subscribed to my channel. And if you like content like this, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. That'll helps me out a lot. So for today's tutorial, I'm gonna be using this worsted weight yarn. It is a Red Heart Super Saver. It's in the color Minty, I believe that's the colorway. And I'm gonna be using my Clover Amour hook. This is an I 5.5 millimeter hook. It doesn't matter what size yarn you use or what size hook, as long as your hook and your yarn match. The tulip stitch is done in a multiple of 6.6 plus 4. And what that means is we're going to be chaining in sets of 6 until our project is as long as we would like it to be. And then we're going to add 4 more chains to our foundation chain. That'll be for our turning chain. So for today's tutorial, we're going to start off with a base chain of 28. Once you have your base chain of 28, come on back and we'll get started. Now that we have our base chain of 28, we're going to be starting 5th chain from hook. The loop on your hook does not count as a stitch, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this is going to be where we're going to start our first stitch with a double crochet. Place 1 double crochet into each chain all the way down your chain. The chains that you skipped in the beginning, they will count as a stitch in this pattern. So keep working 1 double crochet into each chain all the way down the chain, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the chain. At the end of row 1, you should have 25 double crochet. Remember, the chains that we skipped at the beginning will count as a stitch. To start row 2, chain 1 and turn your work. In that very first stitch right there, we're going to place a single crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to put a double crochet V-stitch. For this pattern, a double crochet V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Chain 2, skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and in the next stitch a single crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and we're going to do that double crochet V-stitch again. That's a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, all in the same stitch. So we're going to repeat this pattern all the way across the row. So it's a chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and the double crochet V-stitch, which is double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So please continue this to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of row 2. I made my last V-stitch, chain 2. We have 3 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, which is the turning chain, is our last stitch. We're going to place one single crochet into the top of that turning chain. So 1 single crochet. And this is what your work should be looking like. To start row 3, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This chain 4 counts as a treble crochet in row 3. Turn the work, and we're going to go skip over all of these stitches. We're going to go right to the chain space of the V-stitch. And we're going to work 3 puff stitches with a chain 2 in between. To work the puff stitch, you're going to yarn over your hook, insert it into the chain space, pull up a loop. We're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over, insert into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the chain space, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all loops except for the last one, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2 loops. And that's your puff stitch. Chain 2, and we're going to repeat that 2 more times. Yarn over, insert in the stitch into this chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert in the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all loops except for the last one, yarn over, pull through the 2 remaining loops. Chain 2, 1 more puff stitch, yarn over, insert in the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the chain space, pull up a loop, 1 more time, yarn over, pull through all the loops except for the last one, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2 stitches, 2 loops. Then we're going to chain 1 on the last puff stitch. We're going to go to the next chain space and repeat this. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1 more time, pull through all loops except for the last, chain 2. We're going to repeat that. And again, chain 2. 1 more puff stitch. And then we chain 1 to move to the next flower. So repeat this to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row. I've done my last flower and chain 1, and in this last stitch here we're going to do a double crochet. So this is what your work should look like. To start row 4, we're going to chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, turn the work. And we're going to place a double crochet. This counts as a double crochet chain 1. So we're going to put a double crochet chain 1 in between our puff stitches. So we're going to skip this spot right here because this one counts as that. So we've already worked that stitch. So we're going to go right to the first chain space between the puff stitches. And work a double crochet, chain 1, go to the next chain space, work a double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, chain 1 in between the puff stitches, in between the flowers, and go to the next flower, and between the puff stitches, work a double crochet, chain 1, between the next 2 puff stitches, double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet, chain 1 between the stitches, between the flowers. And again, between the puff stitches and between the flower, between the puff stitches, and in the top of the turning chain at the end. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. We're at the end of row 4. I've done a double crochet, chain 1 between the puff stitches on our last flower, and we're going to put one in the top of the turning chain, a double crochet to end the row. And this is what your work should be looking like. To start row 5, we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3 counts as our first stitch, our first double crochet. And we're going to place a double crochet into that first chain space and into the next double crochet, into the next chain space, into the next double crochet, and a double crochet into the next chain space, into the next double crochet. So you're going to continue working your double crochets into the chain space and the next double crochet, chain space and the next double crochet, all the way down to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. When you come to the end of the row and you place your double crochet into that chain space, you're also going to be placing one into the third chain of that turning chain. So you just count up 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to place a double crochet into that third chain. I like to try to get at least 2 of the loops so it doesn't leave like a hole on the end there, so it looks more solid. And that's what your work should look like. Now to continue this pattern, all you're going to do is repeat row 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can just back up the video and you just go row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5 for however wide or length that you want on your project. So let's just bring back the other examples so you can get a good look at what they look like one more time. So here's the same one, the solid one like we were working on. So here's another repeat of rows 2 through 5 in the solid. Put that up there. And then here's with 2 colors, just changing colors for the flower petals. And then here's one where I changed colors for the base, the stems, and the flower petals, which I think came out very nice. So let's put all 3 here together. Get my hook out of the way so you can see all 3 examples. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!